Welcome all. We discuss about iconology of Buddha. Introduction. Buddhist art reflects very faithfully all the important aspects of Buddhism. In primitive Buddhism, Gautama Sakyamuni has been regarded as an ideal human being, and quite naturally we find that the early Buddhist art of Bharat, Sanchi, Bodh Gaya, Amaravati and other places shows no anthropomorphic representation of the master. As the time passed, Buddhism acquired greater popularity and drew adherents from all sections of the people. The discipline and attitude of the early Buddhism were beyond the comprehension of the ordinary followers of the religion. A religion without a personal God in whom one can repose faith but little appeal to them. The demand of the popular mind as met by the Mahayanists who introduced the concept of divine bodhisattvas and several other deities. With the progress of time, the Buddhist pantheon was enlarged to include several hundred deities. History background. After the disintegration of the Mauryan dynasty in 185 BCE, the empire built by Ashoka once again dissolved into separately regions, the rulers of which were often threatened by invasion of border tribes that had formerly been held at bay. Within 100 years, the power vacuum left by the Mauryans had been filled in northwest India by a group of Central Asian nomads known as Kushanas. Human form. During this period, the first image of Buddha in human form, which reflect clearly the influence of Roman style in northwest India, were made. Over the course of time, however, Buddhist iconography evolved clearly distinct features, and during this and the subsequent Gupta dynasty, Hindu and Jain icons depicting in human form of the various gods linked to Vedic and Vaishnavite traditions begin to appear as well. Anthropomorphic form. Buddhist art entered upon a new phase with the rise of Mahayana Buddhism during the 1st century BC to 1st century AD. The period is remarkable in that it gave for the first time the figure art or the anthropomorphic representation of the Buddha. Under the patronage of Kushana rulers, which is 1st century to 2nd century AD, a new school of art flourished in the Gandhara region. During the 2nd to 1st century BCE, sculptures become more expect, representing episodes of Buddha's life and teachings. These look the form of votive tablets or phrases, usually in relation to the decoration of stupas. The two main centers of creation have been identified as Gandhara in today's Punjab in Pakistan and the region of Madura in central northern India. This iconic art was characterized from the start by a realistic idealism combining realistic human features, proportions, attitudes and attributes together with a sense of perfection and serenity reaching to the divine. This expression of the Buddha became the iconographic canon for the subsequent Buddhist art. The pink sandstone sculptures of Madura evolved during the Gupta period, that is in 4th to 6th century AD, to reach a very high fineness of execution and delicacy in their modeling. Sandstone image of Buddha. This sandstone image is the earliest dated Buddhist icon made of stone, which its inscription claim was made in the third year of King Kanishka's region. Actually, the inscription calls it a Bodhisattva. Like all other Madura sculptures, this figure is made of locally available red sandstone. Next, features of Buddha in Madura art. The sculptures of the Buddha radiate the region feelings of gentleness and compassion. Buddha was conceived in human form and sculpted in stone. Carved in bold relief, the features were given a three-dimensional effect, a concept that was probably borrowed from the West. The faces of the statues of the Buddha sculpted during the Kushana period are characterized by an open, radiant expression. The eyes are fully open, the cheeks round and full, the mouth ample, with the lips drawn into a slight smile. This smile is probably the earliest appearance of the only possible device by which the Indian sculpture could indicate the inner contentment and repose of the Buddha. The colossal sculptures of the Buddha, which portray a frontal stance, are fine specimens of the craftsmanship of the Madura artists. Broad shoulders, masculine torso, and the right hand raised in Abhaya Mudra are the typical characteristics. The drapery clings to the body in fine rhythmic folds, while a big dissected halo behind the head adds an extra aura of divinity. The garments in the body are clearly visible. Gandhara School of Art. Buddhist sculpture seems to have flourished somewhat later, towards the end of Kanishka's region. At Gandhara, near the northern capital of the Kushana Empire, yet these icons reflect much more vividly the influence of the Roman artisans who had originally inspired the tradition. The hairstyle of this figure is reminiscent of the Greek god Apollo. The moustache may reflect Roman influence. The toga-like garments, sandals, and necklaces are clearly Roman style. Robed in a thick garment arranged in the fashion of a Roman toga, with the hair arranged in wavy curls, with a physiognomy and expression foreign to Indian notions, and sometimes with a moustache or turban. The Buddha of Gandhara artists resembles the Greek god Apollo. Independent images seated or standing occur very frequently. Representation of Buddha. The image of Buddha is distinguished in various different ways. The Buddha is usually shown in a stylized pose or asana. Also important are the 32 lakshanas or special body features. Lakshanas. Some of these symbolize aspects of Buddha's spiritual character, while others draw attention to the concept that his beautiful and perfectly proportioned body is an outer reflection of inner spiritual power. These are drawn from the ancient Indian concept of the Mahapurusha. Some lakshanas: well placed flat footed feet, mark of the wheel of law on soles of feet or palms of hands. Soles and palms more tender and soft than in most people. Long toe and fingers. webbed fingers and toes, feet well set on the ground, ankle bones that are hardly noticeable, lower legs like those of an antelope, body frame tall and straight, arms that reach to the knee when standing, hairs on the head and arranged in soft curls that points to the right. Hairs of the body point upwards, skin smooth and delicate, skin golden. According to legend, the Buddha was born with limbs that shone like the sun. Broad neck, torso like a lion, shoulders gently curved, chest wide, body circumference has proportions of a fig tree, cheeks like a lion, 40 teeth rather than the normal 32 teeth. Teeth have no gaps. Teeth are equal in size, very white teeth, a long tongue that can reach his ears, eyes the color of sapphire, long eyelashes, tuft of hair or third eye between his eyebrows. This symbolizes spiritual insight. A bump on the top of the head known as Ushnisha, which symbolizes wisdom and spirituality and his attainment of enlightenment. Elongated ears. One feature that is regularly used but is not considered a Lakshana is showing the Buddha with elongated earlobes. These are to remind that the Buddha was once a prince who wore a great deal of jewelry, including heavy earrings, which stretching out his earlobes. Although he gave up the wearings of any jewelry when he gave up his life of luxury, his earlobes remained elongated. Lotus flower. Lotus flowers often appear in images of Buddha. It is a symbol of things which are pure and good. A lotus is a flower that begins its life in the mud at the bottom of a pond and then rises to the surface to flower. It therefore reminds people that in the same way, people can rise above their problems and achieve enlightenment. The wheel of law. The wheel of law can sometimes be found marked on the soles of the Buddha's feet and the palms of his hands. It has 8 spokes to remind followers that the Buddha thought of the noble eightfold path which outlined 8 ways of living. The wheel itself is a reminder of the cycle of birth, death and rebirth. Next, Iconology of Jain Theerthankaras. Introduction. Jainism is an independent and most ancient religion of India. Its advent is in the 6th century BC. The word Jain is derived from Jina, which means the one victorious over the self and the external world. A Theerthankara is one who establishes Jain organization after conquering both love and hatred. He shows a fine path to the world's living, begins to be free from ignorance, misery and moha. The 24 Theerthankaras are considered to be the creator of Jain religion. Their way of life is for giving up possessive passion and being free from karmas. We have a brief introduction of all 24 Theerthankaras, who are generous, noble, passion-free, and very holy characters. The Theerthankara icons are uniformly two-armed, two-eyed, graceful, charming, unornamented, deep meditation, youthful in appearance. The mark of Srivastava adorns their chest and Asnisa, which is a sutra of Mahayana. Iconographically, all the Theerthankara are alike and difference only in the emblems. According to Jain belief, Indra appoints one Yaksha and Yakshi to serve as attendants of each Theerthankara. The Yaksha would be on his right and Yakshini on his left. They also come to be called attendant spirits. The jinas are attributed with 21 supernatural elements: Dharmachakra, flywish, lion seeds, triple umbrella, and Ashoka tree, etc. The Theerthankara represents the higher ideal of aestheticism. The sculptural representation, they are shown like aesthetics draped or naked in the two yogic postures Paringrasana and Kayotsarga, which means deep relaxation. The 22 Theerthankaras belong to the Ishagu Vamsha and the other two, Muniswarada and Naminada, to the Hari Vamsha. The 24 Theerthankaras of the Jaina Pandan, but 3 of them are especially worshipped. Rishabhanatha, also called Adinatha, golden in complexion, countenance in bull, Gomukha and Chakraswari as his attendant Yaksha and Yakshi, matted hair, Srivastava mark on chest, and Chakra and Padma mark on the soles of his feet. Sculpture of Rishabhanatha. Next, Parshvanatha, 23rd Theerthankara, dark blue in complexion, snake as his countenance, 5 or 7 snakes, hoods over his head, Yaksha, Dharanendra, Yakshini, Siddhaiga. Parshvanatha sculpture. Next, Mahavira. Mahavira considered as the 24th Theerthankara. Golden complexion, his emblem lion, Yaksha, Madang, Yakshini, Siddhaiga. He may be shown as standing erect, Kayotsarga posture, or seated in the lotus posture in meditative absorption. Sculpture of Mahavira. Thank you.